Josh, as someone who must watch a lot of football and obviously talks about it all the time, do you not ever just get a bit bored, sick of it? I've had to take a bit of a break from football and particularly fantasy football recently because I was just so bored of it and all of the terrible copy and paste punditry. Not yourself, he adds there, rightly so in the end. What a great question. And the answer is yes. It's not necessarily bored, but I do sometimes feel a bit oversaturated. Now, look, you're talking to me in the close season where, I'm almost ready now. If the football season was about to kick off, I'd be ready for it. But we've obviously got another entire month here, 20th of June today, and, it'll be sort of the first weekend in August. But really, if you're doing YouTube, once you get into the final week of July, we start doing all the predictions videos and everyone's got shirts out and signings are ramping up and all of that stuff. So there's almost more to talk about in that first couple of weeks. But in terms of the regular season, yeah, and I need to acknowledge how lucky I am to be able to walk to my garage and talk about football for part of my income, of course. So I don't want to sound churlish or what have you, but if you can imagine where we get a 3-game week in the championship as well. So if, for example, I have a reasonably quiet Friday, but I'm going to do the watch-along game in the evening, I'm going to get up on Saturday, and there's probably shorts and whatnot to get up from the watch-along the previous night. I'm going to do the 12:15 kickoff. Then I'm prepping the hot takes on Saturday night. Probably get a takeaway with the missus or something. Prep the hot takes, chill, do some reading, and I'll film the hot takes ready for Sunday morning. Then we go into Sunday, and I'll host Blue Monday, which is obviously another channel separate to this. And say, for example, we're going into a 3-game week. I'll then be speaking with Sam and doing predictions on a Monday. There'll be a championship check-in podcast as well. Then there'll be the Tuesday night games. I'll be doing something with Matt SB, presumably in terms of League One, and then reacting. And then Wednesday night, we get into Thursday, and you're getting ahead of Saturday. And then you do the whole weekend again, exactly like that, to roll round to the Monday. And yeah, by the end of it, honestly, you're a little bit like, man, if I see another guy kicking a sphere of air around a field into a rectangle, I'm going to bang my head against the wall or what have you. So I think the key I've found, and it's really, really difficult because what it does do is it stops you consuming other people's excellent content. But I do tend to kind of shut down a little bit, switch off, and then go, right, buzz, review the championship, stop, forget about it. And it was tough last season as well because I'd have to focus in on the championship on Sunday. Then I'd be talking about Ipswich. So then I'd have to look at the Premier League as well. So I think it's almost just having like a palate cleanser or what have you in between and listening to different types of podcasts and, different topics and things. I like Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson. I think that's a great podcast. And that's good because it's like hour and a half long sometimes. And you just move out from the football. Obviously, having a child allows you to move out from the football as well. But I suppose it's very much like in my life as a musician, when you go and play a gig and, you arrive, you sound check, you get everything ready, you play all night, you unpack, you get into the car. The absolute last thing you want to do is listen to some music. I'm trying to think, it was Ed Sheeran I heard talking about it the other day. He was talking about playing stadiums, and he had a good analogy. He said that if you eat steak every single day, it doesn't matter how good the steak is, eventually you'll just want yourself a burger. So yes, who asked the question? Josh, I know exactly where you're coming from. Bored is probably the wrong word, but oversaturated a little bit. And I think the key is, if you're doing what I'm doing, to keep fresh. And it's very, very easy. In the morning, you're like, I don't know, you're doing chores or whatever, setting up for the day, sorting my daughter out, all of that. Because it'd be very easy to stick a football podcast in. But I think give yourself a break and then go in strong, focus, and then get out again, short little spurts of activity, or yes, your entire life will then be just football. And don't be wrong, I'm sure there's people who'll comment on this will say, there's nothing wrong with that, Ben. My entire life is football. Anyway, but look, to each their own. I want to try and find some balance, because what I do know is I really, really love football, and I love watching it and I love covering it. But I know what my personality's like. If I go in too strong, I will ruin it for myself and I will stop enjoying it. Hence the Ed Sheeran quote about steaks and burgers and all of that good stuff. Right, where are we going next?